Hello, this is Tom Bailey from the Thompson Twins, and you're watching Life Minute TV. We always like to tour in America, right? And the way this has come up is a kind of 80s festival with 7 bands. In particular, I'm looking forward to playing with Thomas Dolby, who I'm co-headlining this with. And we haven't worked together for a long, long time, although back in the day we played on records together. So yeah, it's a kind of homecoming. A lot there to trigger a few memories from back in the 80s. Yeah, we'll be playing a lot of songs that people recognize and remember from that kind of era. Because there are 7 bands on it, means that everyone can't play for like an hour and a half. So that we'll be limited in a little bit of time, but we'll choose the real banging songs to play. All the big hits, we're going to be playing Hold Me Now, Doctor Doctor, You Take Me Up, all those hits from the Into the Gap album, and then Lay Your Hands on Me from Future Days, Love on Your Side, In the Name of Love, like a 5-album stretch of hits. For me to be touring America is always something I look forward to. It doesn't happen every year. It seems to be happening every 4 or so years. So we really look forward to it. I've got an amazing band and we get on very, very well together. My band are all female, which is an interesting thing. We like to break down the assumptions of what a pop band should look like. And it's not just 4 guys with guitars. And we play unusual instruments and really enjoy it. I have to say, some of my musicians weren't born when the songs were written. So there's a kind of young contingent there as well, which is very exciting for me. And um, they're enjoying the experience as well. We just celebrated the 40th anniversary of our biggest record, Into the Gap. So all that's going to come rushing back. And when we played those songs recently in the UK, it got a massive response because, of course, everyone remembers them. And it's a kind of pleasant surprise to think that we can still do it. Well, it was one of the kind of golden ages of songwriting and kind of interesting song recording. We were using synthesizers and drum machines for the first time, so it's like a new sound was created. And it was a really kind of catchy and foot tapping sound. So people remember it for that. Also, the other thing was, of course, MTV. Suddenly bands were visual as well as sonic. And so everyone got to see what we looked like and we acted out our fantasies to the camera. People are always telling me how the music affects them. And I'm the same, I'm affected by other people's music and to an extent by my own. It's partly a physical, intellectual thing, but it's an emotional thing that we engage with. And that's what I'm looking for. We know we can play the right notes. What I'm looking for is that emotional connection with the audience so that we leave feeling that we're in a better condition than we joined. Hold Me Now, which was a big kind of emotional hit for us, but it came out of an argument that we'd had, and then we made friends again. And so we wrote about that and how it's important to get, to compromise, to get off your ego and to make friends again after an argument. It's what people do. And so that's what the song is about. And it kind of hits a nerve with people in that sense. We grow up and we remember the songs that we fell in love with. Literally, when we were falling in love as teenagers, we have a soundtrack. When we did the naughty things that our parents told us not to do when we were teenagers, there's always music that is in the background, and then we remember that. Everyone remembers that stuff. And for a large number of people in the 80s, we happen to be that soundtrack. And so in a way I feel responsible for making an impression, but it hopefully a good one. We started the Twins, 3 school friends who'd always kind of strummed guitars together. We just did it for fun, but never thought of forming a band and performing until really punk and new wave came along and said, anyone can do this. You don't have to be that special anymore. Just 3 chords is enough. And that opened the door to bands like ours to just have a go and enjoy it. And the answer to most of these questions is one thing leads to another. You know, you think, yeah, I could do that. Let's have a go. And the next thing, people are coming to your concerts and saying, yeah, where can we buy a record? Oh, we haven't got one yet. Let's make one. You know, it goes like that. I left New Zealand maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago, and just before I left, I caught up with Alannah. She returned to New Zealand, and we had coffee, and that was very nice. Joe's in Southern California, so I may even see him on this tour. When I want to get a break from music but still be creative, then I like to paint, and I like to paint portraits. And for some reason, the tasks involved in that, like life drawing and stuff, are for me a kind of meditation. So I can momentarily forget all the problems of life when I'm concentrating on a picture. But I have lots of other projects. I have an Indian classical band. I have an electronic dub band, and I'm constantly playing on other people's records as well. So very impressed by the Beatles when I was a young kid, and especially the kind of experimental phase of the Beatles when they went all psychedelic and started breaking their own rules. I thought that was just an amazing thing, you know. So that, if you like, is the big example of how to do it, you know, is to break your own rules. And I've tried to follow that in some ways. But I'm also a big fan of the Baroque, and I listen to experiments in 4-part harmony. And I do that kind of stuff. It's not meant to be listened to by other people, but that's something I do every day. I'm always writing and recording. Nothing this year, because Into the Gap is about to be re-released. Its 40th anniversary release, and it's been remastered, and it's coming out in all these newfangled formats like Dolby Atmos and stuff. I don't want to get in the way of that. So if I release anything, it won't be this year. Maybe next, maybe the year after, I don't know. I'm taking a little rest now after the UK tour, which is fabulous. So I'm really fired up about coming to the States. It's going to be great.
To hear more of this interview, visit our podcast, Life Minute TV, on iTunes and all streaming podcast platforms.